Benchmarks and prices for AMD's upcoming mainstream graphics card have been leaked online, and it looks like AMD is not going to bother competing with Nvidia. If you thought you might actually get a decently priced alternative to Nvidia's RTX 4060 series, unfortunately I've got some bad news for you. Let's discuss that in this video. Hey, if you enjoy content like this, drop a like, make sure to subscribe, and smash that bell so you never miss another video. Hey, what is going on guys? Danny here, welcome back to the channel and I hope you've all been doing well. New mainstream graphics cards from Nvidia are going to be hitting the store shelves soon, but unfortunately the early response from the PC gaming and hardware community has not been positive. My last video I posted was a launch coverage of the RTX 4060 series where I talk about their benchmarks, specifications, and why at those prices people feel like the cards are a ripoff. So you can check it out, link for it will be in the video description. The ball is in AMD's court now, and with how many times Nvidia has disappointed PC gamers, you'd think AMD would get the hint to come in and take the market by storm. When I look at the mainstream and entry-level market, this used to be AMD's bread and butter. When I got into PC gaming and the many years that came afterwards, I used Radeon hardware because of the bang for buck they offered, as I didn't have too much disposable income at the time. The last few years for AMD's Radeon Technologies group have been anything but that. It seems like all they've done is waited for Nvidia to announce their products and then slot their parts in just slightly underneath them, which is in no way of being disruptive or even coming off as any sort of competitive behavior. Many reviewers have pointed out that AMD's weird strategy these days seems to be attaining terrible launch day reviews, and then when a few months go by, the price for the hardware drops down to a more appropriate level or where it should have launched at in the first place. The RX 7900 XT is a great example of this. Launched for $899 alongside the 7900 XTX, which everyone said was DOA. Now you can find them at around $760, which is honestly the price point this card should have launched at to begin with, and that would have garnered them some solid reviews and recommendations. But if someone is shopping around for a new graphics card, they look at the 7900 XT and say, hey, that looks pretty interesting. I wonder what the reviews for this card were like. Then they'll go see reviews and opinions of this card back from when it had launched. They'll see the negativity, which can influence their buying decision, which therefore is detrimental to AMD. One argument that is brought up a lot when it comes to these new graphics cards is that they're priced high because of inflation, and they're compared to MSRPs of the models from the previous generation. Though many people seem to forget that AMD and Nvidia released these mid-range and entry-level GPUs in a time where demand was at an obscenely high level. Definitely not normal due to the crypto mining and with people being stuck in their homes more than usual. Tech in general was just in high demand. Cards like the 6700 XT really had no business being priced at $480 in a regular market. They were only positioned that way because at that time, due to the high demand, any graphics card was flying off the shelf. It didn't matter what it was, what its price was, as soon as it was in stock, it was sold out. Due to that, I personally think comparing new cards coming out to the MSRP of last gen models isn't the best way to look at it, because those cards were already severely overpriced to begin with, as AMD and Nvidia were taking advantage of the situation. So keep that in mind as we talk about pricing for this upcoming AMD card. But speaking of new cards, the RX 7600, Navi 33, we know it's coming soon, we've seen pictures of it, all that matters is if AMD can be disruptive with it. Video Cards on their website posted an article sharing some leaked performance numbers of the upcoming RTX 4060 Ti 8GB and the RX 7600 from some of 3D Mark's graphics tests. The 4060 Ti 8GB lands basically where we all had expected it would. It's not surprising to see this because we already had some numbers from Nvidia indicating where it would land, how much faster it would be over the 3060 Ti, and it's nothing short of pathetic. The RX 7600, on the other hand, looks to be a bit more interesting. The first set of benchmarks they showed are results from TimeSpy at 1440p and 4K along with Speedway at 1440p, and we can see the RX 7600 is anywhere from 30 to 40% faster, depending on the benchmark, which for a gen-on-gen improvement isn't horrible, but it's also not amazing. Amazing would have been 60 to 65% higher in my opinion, and remember, AMD made claims that we'd be looking at a 50% or a little bit above that performance per watt improvement, which has yet to be seen. Also, something interesting I wanted to point out to you guys was if we take a look at the specs, the RX 6600 was a cut down Navi 23 die with 28 CUs. The RX 7600 this time around is going to be the full Navi 33 die with 32 compute units. So when you think about it, a mere 30 to 35% improvement is kind of shit. Consequently, it comes in that range of just being okay or sub-mediocre due to other options not being great either. So it's compared to other shit products, which, you know, if it's less shit, it's going to be a little bit better, and still definitely better than what Nvidia is offering gen on gen, that's for sure, which will, again, help it a little bit. The next set of benchmarks came from Firestrike at 1080p, 1440p, and 4K, and we can overall see it's around 32% faster, edging out the 6650 XT and just shy of the 3060 Ti. Do keep in mind that performance results from 3D Mark don't translate directly into real-world games. Depending on what hardware they're optimized for, what engine they're using, and API, that can all play a role in how performance is impacted. In AMD favorite titles, I can see the 7600 performing on par with the 3060 Ti. In games where Nvidia is favored, it'll perform like a 3060, maybe a bit better, on par with the 4060 if anything. For 1080p gaming, this level of performance is adequate when it comes to raw rasterization. I don't care about ray tracing at this price point, and I think most people aren't, so I'm not going to be focusing on that as its main selling point. Now, what will make or break this graphics card is its pricing. Just recently over on Canada Computers, some listings for 3 AIB 7600 cards were leaked along with their pricing. Obviously the web pages are down now, but they did manage to capture what they were before that occurred. We can see that the models are priced a little bit over $300 USD after conversion. One thing you guys have to be mindful of, and this especially pertains to newly released AMD GPUs, is that they're never priced at direct conversion. So if a GPU releases for $499 USD, for example, converting that at the time of making this video is around 674 Canadian dollars, but Canadian retailers will add another $20 to $50 on top of that depending on the SKU. With that taken into account, I believe that the RX 7600 will have an MSRP of $299, and if it will be priced at $299, it's going to be DOA, straight up. For starters, pricing their GPU at the same price point as Nvidia's RTX 4060 is just asking to get thrashed. If it performs similarly to the 4060, then people will always choose to buy Nvidia. There's zero reasons for them to get AMD, especially when Nvidia has better software features, better upscaling, AMD don't even have a DLSS 3 equivalent, if that matters to you, and better power efficiency. Those are just some advantages that Nvidia has and why someone would choose those cards over an RX 6700 XT, but RDNA 3 and the 7600 don't have anything better. Also, it's not just Nvidia they have to be concerned about, but why in the world would someone choose to buy an RX 7600 for $300 when they can find an RX 6700 XT for just $20 more on Newegg, or an RX 6700 non-XT on Amazon for less than that, and both cards would offer better performance, have more VRAM, and are not gimped by the X8 PCIe configuration. And if you want RX 7600 performance, you can just buy an RX 6650 XT right now on Amazon for $250. It just makes no sense to buy, which is why I'm calling it DOA, and many reviewers will give it bad press as well. It's so bizarre, it's like they learn absolutely nothing or are deliberately trying to run themselves into the ground. They'll release this card at $300, get shit on, and then half a year later when it's discounted to the price where it should have released at because nobody was buying it, is when they'll see units moving again. What an amazing strategy. A round of applause for the Radeon Technologies group. If AMD wanted to be disruptive in the market, then they needed to price the RX 7600 at the price point the RX 6600s are going for now, which is $200. At that price point, they can say, look, we're just as fast as an RTX 4060, but come in $100 cheaper, which at that lower end market is a big deal. And that difference in price will be enough for someone to forego those advantages that Nvidia has and, you know, say, look, I'll just save the $100 and go for the AMD product. Other than that, I just can't really see this thing selling. It just doesn't have any other place in the market that I see it being viable. So let's hope that I'm wrong and AMD decides to pull their heads out of the sand and stops trying to act like Nvidia's equals, because it's not working out for them clearly. If you guys found this video to be informative and entertaining, then leave a like. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Be sure to check out the video description for cool links and ways to support the channel, such as using my Amazon affiliate link. And if you're interested in seeing more content like this, then consider subscribing. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.